you've pretty publicly on Twitter, I know in kind of appearances talked about, I mean, keeping FSU's brand kind of prominent. I guess it seems like for the moment, college football realignment or college realignment has died down. Who knows when that can pick back up? It seems like at the drop of a hat. I guess in the interim, how important is kind of keeping the FSU brand kind of at the forefront and showing how important it is?
Well, it's very important. It is a brand that speaks nationally across all of our sports, whether it's soccer, softball, baseball, football. But it's a brand. That when that brand's on television, it attracts eyeballs, and that's important. And it's important for us to realize that. It's important for us to make those investments. Kurt, I went back and studied from 2014, 2021 and looked at our conference. Now, and I would argue those are some of the worst times in Florida State football history, but we were still number one in the regular season in viewership across all tiers. And that just speaks to the brand, even though we weren't peaking or performing at what we expect here internally, but we were still drawing nationally the eyeballs. There's a reason we're on prime time next year again, last year, and they put us on the Friday night against Florida because they understand what that brand means. And we got to keep pushing forward. We got to keep leaning forward to make sure that we understand that and providing opportunities to get that brand in every market that we can. Because it not only helps the athletic department, it helps the university as well. Helps market the university, gives us an opportunity to showcase what the city of Tallahassee and what the Florida State University has to offer.
What can you share? I remember I think you shared the graphic with the board of trustees, right? Just about, I mean, like you said, not just FSU place in the ACC, but even among maybe some other teams. I guess what can you share on that front?
Yeah, I mean, if you take, and I'll mention it, if you take out the conference distribution that you get and put us in other conferences, we would rank third in both the SEC and the Big Ten. And that's a very important stat because I hear a lot, well, Florida's had this, University of Florida's had that. And I will go back to the Seminole boosters and what we've been able to do. And it speaks to our brand and our multimedia rights agreement, our concessions agreement, and everything that we have about that we control, marketing and licensing agreements. We've been successful, more successful than a lot of others. And that speaks once again to what our people in the industry feel about Florida State University and the impact it has not only in Florida, but this region and nationally, that they want to be associated with this brand. And it really goes back to a lot of the groundwork people as Jerry and Andy Miller have set up through the years that have allowed us to be at this forefront and have one of the strongest brands in collegiate sports. And I would argue all the sports. When that logo is walking around in Italy, there's only one of them, and people recognize it. And it's a very powerful brand that we have.
The brand is no doubt important, and like you said, kind of keeps FSU in the conversation even when maybe the football team wasn't in the conversation. That being said, with how things could pick up at kind of any given moment, I mean, how big is football success in this moment? Obviously, I think that is a significant deal, even if you're kind of there, even with the brand without the success.
And no, it's very important because that's the marquee that's the one driving the eyeballs. When you look at your media agreements, right or wrong, but when you look at what ESPN or any media agreement values, they're going to look at TV viewership, they're going to look at TV households, they're going to look at football performance, and they're going to look at basketball performance. That's what they pay you for. Like I said, right or wrong, that is how they break down what it is and what the media distribution is and what the media TV contract is. And that's why it's so important to keep those brands relevant across the country, not only at Florida State, but amongst the ACC. We talk about it internally all the time that we need to constantly look at our marquee brands within our own conference and how do we showcase those more. And it's very important when, if you do all the analysis, me, I break it down analytical. And you look at us and that other school in South Carolina that wears orange, we represent about 24% of the media value right now. within the ACC. So we are the marquee brands within this conference and have been across this time frame. So, you know, we need to make sure those two brands are being out in the forefront.
Turning the page, obviously, to I guess from what just happened to what's ahead. I know baseball season will be here before we know it, and I know there's some real anticipation about Link Jarrett's first season. What can you say about, I mean, all that went into Dick Howser Stadium with the renovations kind of ahead of Link's first season? And I guess, are you able to share a financial figure of kind of how much of a commitment was made this offseason to Dick Howser Stadium?
Well, right now we're starting to work on it right now. I saw them working out my window yesterday. But you're going to see when you enter the stadium, Dick Howser, you're going to see graphically a total different fan experience. We've already done some things to the locker room. We put in the new padding last year. We've added a new netting behind the screen, behind home plate, and above this year. And more professional type netting that allow better sight lines for our fans in the grandstand. We've re-turfed everything, resurfaced the grass, re-turfed the bullpens, painted. We are giving it as much of a total makeover as we can without just breaking down and building a new stadium. But we've made a financial commitment. We've made a financial commitment to that program as far as facilities, a financial commitment to the staff. And we want to be the best. And, you know, that, and I will say it, that is the most storied program in college baseball. When you go back and look through the history, consistent winners. And we're just missing one thing. And we want to get that accomplished. And I know we got the right guy to do that. And we want to support him at the highest levels to give him the opportunity and those student athletes the opportunity to bring home that title to Tallahassee. You get me excited talking baseball, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Baseball guy himself, yeah.
I didn't want to call it your favorite subject. That wouldn't be fair, but it's up there, ain't it?
It's one of there. I got 19 other ones as well. You know, but I look at like what Brooke's doing in beach volleyball. She's going to be we're going to bring a national title home there. There's no doubt in my mind. She's going to win one. And supporting her, we're building new restrooms, and we put a new 6th sand court in there last year, and we're building a facility for them out there this year, starting this spring. And I mean, just looking at things that we can do that make a difference to the programs. And that's what we're trying to do across the board. We're looking at Tully. What do we do? I have a meeting coming up in a couple of weeks on that. And putting a financial analysis pro forma together about indoor volleyball. And how do we fix that facility or build a new one even to address the needs there. So, you know, it's important. You see what we're doing right now in softball. We got plans in soccer. I mean, it's making sure that we address what needs to be addressed to keep all of our programs at an elite level.